Shalom Israel. First of all, we give all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh B'Shem Shai, B'Shem Kakadash, the born of the apostles, and all of great Muslim teachers this truth. Peace and blessing to reflect Israel, and Shalom. Yahweh is the name of the Defiant Hebrew, B'Shem means the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the unbegotten Son. Back in the lesson, and today you're going to go into that pressure that is being instilled on the people, as you see with the gas prices being risen, or being raised up, and also the sanctions that being in place with Russia and Ukraine, with ultimately Russia, them banning imports and trades with Russia, not accepting oil and imports that they or trades that people make with Russia, which is also going to impact and hurt a lot of these different nations that usually trade with Russia and get imports from them. So you see the gas prices are continuing to rise, which, as you see, multiple brothers have made multiple lessons going into this. The gas prices, inflation, and all the things that are going on. But, this is constantly just, being brought up. So it's showing you that Yahweh Shai is kicking things off and things are continuing to heat up. But as you see, you better get a reality check right here. And people are starting to, kind of, freak out. Reality is starting to set in, and guess what? Things will not get better.
You fuckers want a reality check? I'm gonna give you a reality check. $1,052 to fill a semi-truck in Tennessee. It is currently, right now, $5.15 a gallon. What the fuck are y'all gonna do next month when your gallon of milk costs $11? Because you hear that? That's the only way you get milk. Reefer units, refrigerator trailers. It ain't like y'all gonna do without. Y'all better wake the fuck up.
So you see, reality is starting to set in. People are starting to freak out. Gas prices being risen, which it was $5 right there. In other places, $7, $6, and it will continue to rise, man. Which we have to, see exactly, how this plays out and, what comes from this. But you obviously see what's coming. Famine, as you see workers and truckers that usually transport the food to your local supermarkets, your Walmarts or your grocery stores, them not be able to, pay that amount every time, it's going to cause a lot of damage, certain businesses not having enough food, because truckers losing their jobs, not be able to pay all of that, especially with all the restrictions and mandates that are coming, so that pressure is being implemented, man, and pushed. And it's ultimately, coming to end times, times of Jacob's trouble, our faith will be tried and we will be tested, man. Things are progressively getting worse. Things are not getting better. As you see, once again, the gas prices being risen, with especially the sanctions between, that the U.S. has made with Russia, banning imports and trades with Russia once again, which has caused a lot of damage to the nations that are, close with the U.S., So you don't have a lot of Americans, people agreeing with Biden and his decision with banning it and, trades with Russia, because you see the already impact and damage that it's causing. Let's get a few scriptures, and we'll close out. 2 Ezra 16:21. It says, "Behold, the victuals shall be so good and cheap upon the earth." Because back then everybody took the the cheap prices for granted, thinking that everything is good. Everything is fine. Things are going back to so-called normal. Well, guess what? Or it says that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Oh, everything's fine. Things are going back to normal. Things will get better. This is, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. You're starting to see this famine starting to brew. You're starting to have workers. I see those truckers is paying over $1,000 just to fill their tank. And that was $5. So imagine when it's $8, $10, $11, as the guy just said, And there's an article going to how it will continue to rise, man. But it says, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion, which you are seeing now. But Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 3 to 4, said, in that day, it's like, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened, because you're going to have a lot of businesses closing down, shutting down, going out of business. Because especially what you see with the mandates and restrictions that are being implemented, and will especially be pushed coming to the times. Going back to what I was saying once again, the truckers paid over $1,000 just to fill their tank, and they're the ones that are transporting the food, refrigerated, goods, and if they're not able to, pay that amount, every single time to make a trip and back just to, fill your nearby grocery store, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to come from it? You're going to see a lack of food. You're going to see tons of people fighting over the food. And inflation, man. You're going to see the paper dollar, and ultimately America, in trillions of dollars of debt. And the paper dollar is losing its value. That's why you see inflation. Let's continue on. Verse 4. It said, the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. People losing their job once again. I see with the mandates and restrictions with the juice, and coming soon with the MOTB. When the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the dark stars of the music shall be brought low. Continue on. 2 Ezra 16:22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So storehouses, your local Walmarts, grocery stores, not having the necessities that you usually see, to be all bought out. As you see going back then with when the first start of the the 19, people were panic buying, and what do you see with the shelves? It's all cleaned out, man. Food, and especially toilet paper, man. Everybody's freaking out over toilet paper, But then suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouse shall be suddenly be found empty. Which you're seeing articles of them locking steak behind chains. So you see them taking extra precautions for food, You also spread it across the shelves to make it seem like they have more. But Isaiah 65:13 says, therefore thus saith the Lord power, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. So it's showing you that how Hashem Mashai will protect and take care of his elect in these end times, man, especially during this famine. So you see the pressure that is being applied and instilled onto the people. You have a lot of people cracking under that pressure, man, especially a lot of Israelites. But you're starting to see, things progressively getting worse, which, inflation is going to lead to this famine brewing, which you see now. People fighting over the food, which it's a prophecy, man. But the Lord will protect and take care of his elect in his end times, man. And you have a lot of Israelites that will bend the knee and, run to Esau for help. But Psalm 118:8, it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. You have our people trusting in Esau Edom rather than Yahweh Hashem Messiah, the one that's putting the spell on them to do these things to. Ultimately, Yahweh Hashem Messiah is the one doing these things, man. But it says better to trust in the Lord than put confidence in man. See, our people would rather take Esau's word than ours, man. Now, we have been telling you these things were going to happen and come to pass. But just because the white men didn't say it, it's not true. This shows you just how brainwashed our people are. But hey, you have an Edomite telling you right here. These last few scriptures, and I'll close out. It's a pretty short lesson. I went into this, a few times already. But you see, it's constantly, occurring. Matthew chapter 24, verse 7 to 8. For nation arises against nation, kingdom against kingdom, there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. You're seeing famines brewing, especially the famine of the word. And pestilences, these plagues that the Lord sent upon this earth in 19, different variants, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Things will progressively get worse. Hey, this is just the beginning, man. The Lord is getting that ball rolling. But going back to what I was saying earlier, how you have a lot of people that are not agreeing with Biden's choice and the sanctions and the bans that he has made against Russia. Which you're already starting to see. They're already shutting basically them off from social media. cutting them off from TikTok and I believe YouTube. You're not paying their creators. So when I say creators, I'm talking about their channels that the Russian or your Russian people have or record. Not being paid for the work. So you see, things are getting worse, man. Isaiah 19:22. It's like 19:2. So I'll set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So you have Esau against Esau, man. Edomites against Edomites. Which, Yahweh Shai even said, if Satan be divided against itself, how shall his kingdom stand? So you have these double peoples fighting against each other, man. This is also a terrible sign for a nation, a kingdom, man. When your own people is fighting against each other, they're not listening to the people in power, But you still have our people trusting this devil, even after all the atrocities and things that he's done to us as a people, man. Oh, he's changed. Oh, we're equal to him. It's fine. Things will get better. What you're seeing, things are getting worse, man. And these devils are using this rumor of war to their advantage to destroy this economic system, the paper dollar, to implement this new one. The digital currency, by the way, the MOTB. This great reset they're trying to do. But Ecclesiastes 12:10 says, never trust thine enemy, for like his unrest, so is his wickedness. He is not to be trusted. He is wicked. But our people will just, will turn a blind eye every single time. But when we are telling you these things, warning you, telling you to repent, but then you have an Edomite that will, say what we're saying, then all of a sudden it's true. But, not to go too far off topic, but, Lord's edifying lesson, just, quick point. As you see, inflation, things are continuing to rise. This guy paid over $1,000 just to fill his tank. So imagine in the coming weeks, in the coming months, this may get even worse. We'll have to see exactly how this plays out. But once again, Lord's edifying lesson. I'm going to close out and give all praises, all honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Mashai, Bashem Kakadash, the ones the apostles, and those of great Muslim who teach us his truth. Peace and blessings to all of Israel, and shalom. See you next one.